This podcast is brought to you by The Senior Techie, a source of information for seniors and others about technology. Welcome back to the show.
Great to be here.
Today, we're looking at a set of resources that, they really tackle an uncomfortable reality. It's that gnawing tension between the idea of retirement, the beaches, the relaxation, and the brutal reality of the bank account.
It's the classic expectations versus reality problem, isn't it? You work for 40 years. You save, you count on Social Security.
Right.
But when you actually sit down on a Tuesday morning and look at the numbers versus the life you actually want to live, visiting grandkids, travel, just having breathing room, the math often just doesn't add up.
It's a gap.
No.
And the Senior Techie leads with a statistic that really grounds this discussion. 3 in 10 working Americans lack confidence in their financial preparation for retirement.
That is a massive chunk of the population.
A huge chunk. People looking at the exit door of their career and thinking, I'm not ready.
And that anxiety, it doesn't just vanish the day you retire. If anything, it gets worse.
It calcifies.
It does. But, and this is really the entire mission of our conversation today, the landscape has fundamentally shifted. We aren't looking at the same economy we saw 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Technology has quietly kicked open some doors that, quite frankly, most seniors don't even realize are unlocked.
Now, before we get listeners rolling their eyes,
Yeah.
we need to be clear.
Yes.
We are not talking about grandma trying to become a viral TikTok star
Please no.
or learning to code blockchain in the basement.
The internet is full of get-rich-quick schemes. This isn't that. This is about a concept the Senior Techie calls monetizing experience.
Okay.
It's about taking the skills you have already used for 30 or 40 years and finding the specific places in the digital economy where those skills are undervalued and in high demand.
They use a phrase I'd really want to unpack. Your experience is the product. It sounds great on a bumper sticker, but what does it mean in practice?
It's a reframing exercise. I mean, think about the soft skills that are second nature to a boomer or a Gen Xer. You show up on time, you can write a coherent email without emojis,
Right.
You know how to de-escalate an angry client. To a senior, that feels like, well, just Tuesday. It's basic adulthood.
It's the baseline. You don't get a gold star for showing up on time.
In your world, no. But to a 25-year-old startup founder trying to run a business from a laptop, that reliability is gold.
It's scarce.
It is. The modern gig economy is desperate for adult supervision. So the goal today is to map out exactly how to sell that reliability. We're going to walk through a roadmap, starting from what the Senior Techie calls the gateway drug of online work.
I like the sound of a roadmap. So let's start there at that entry point. Why does the Senior Techie label virtual assistant work or VA work as the gateway drug?
Because the barrier to entry is almost non-existent, but the demand is immediate. Being a virtual assistant is, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're an assistant to a business owner, a consultant, but you're doing it all from your kitchen table.
So break down the day-to-day for me. If I sign up to be a VA, what am I actually doing?
It's the nuts and bolts of organizational chaos. It's email management, clearing out an inbox, flagging the important stuff. It's scheduling appointments, maybe some light data entry. Senior Techie makes a brilliant comparison here. If you've ever managed a chaotic household calendar or coordinated Thanksgiving for 20 people,
Right.
or even just balanced a family checkbook, you are already overqualified.
That is a crucial point because I think the term virtual assistant scares people. It sounds so tech-heavy.
It does.
Like you need to know complex coding or some fancy project management software. But you're saying it's basically digital housekeeping.
Ideally, yes. You don't need a degree in computer science. You just need to be organized. You need to be communicative. And the economics are real. The median hourly wage for VA work sits around $21.19.
Wow. Okay.
And that's just the median. If you have specialized skills, say you know how to use QuickBooks or you're a great writer, that rate goes up significantly.
But here's the friction point for me.
Yeah.
Most of our listeners who are retired or semi-retired, they aren't looking for another grind.
No, of course not.
They don't want a boss breathing down their neck for 40 hours a week. They did that for 40 years.
And they shouldn't have one. That's the beauty of the VA model in the gig economy. You're not signing an employment contract for 9 to 5. You're a contractor.
So you work when you want.
You might work 10 hours a week. You might work 5. You might have one client you check in with on Monday and Thursday. It's all about flexibility supplementing your lifestyle, not replacing your freedom.
That distinction is key. You're the boss of your own time.
Ex-
So logistics. If I'm convinced Where do I actually go? Do I just shout into the void on Facebook or Craigslist?
Please don't do that. You need to go where the vetting happens. The senior techie highlights two distinct paths here. First, you have the agencies, companies like Belay and Boldly.
Belay and Boldly. How do they work?
These are firms that specifically market themselves on providing experienced assistance. They love hiring seniors because they want that maturity.
I see.
So you apply, they interview you, and then they match you with clients. It takes all the sales pressure off of you.
Okay, so that's the hold my hand option. What's the independent route?
That would be the freelance marketplaces like Upwork or Fiverr. This is where you build your own profile. You say, I'm an expert at calendar management. You set your price, and you bid on jobs.
A bit more entrepreneurial.
It is, but you keep more control and eventually, usually a higher percentage of the fee.
Okay, so that's the VA track. It's the ground floor.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about the listener who spent 40 years as an HR director or a CFO. They don't want to just answer emails. They want to use their brain, solve big problems.
This is where we pivot to the expert track. If you have a specialized career history, you are sitting on a gold mine of consulting potential. The senior techie data shows that business and professional coaching is one of the top side gigs for retirees in 2026.
That makes perfect sense. You're not starting from scratch.
No, you're selling the fact that you've seen it all before. You're offering perspective. Think about a young CEO running a fast-growing company. They have energy, they have ideas, but maybe they've never fired anyone before.
Or navigated a regulatory audit.
Exactly, you have. You've seen the economic cycles. Companies will pay a premium for that gray hair wisdom.
And do you need to set up an LLC and a fancy website to do all this?
No, that's the misconception. The primary tool for this isn't some complex new app.
What is it?
It's LinkedIn.
Good old LinkedIn. I feel like people underestimate it.
Drastically. You don't need to rent an office. You just update your LinkedIn profile to say consultant or fractional HR director. You start commenting on industry posts. You signal you're open for business. The overhead is zero.
I love that term, fractional. It implies you're just giving them a slice of your time, but a really high-value slice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, alongside consulting, the senior techie brings up teaching. But we're not talking about standing in front of a chalkboard with unruly teenagers.
Right. We're talking about the explosion of online tutoring. This has gone completely mainstream. Platforms like tutor.com and Wyzant, that's W-Y-Z-A-N-T, connect you directly with students over video chat.
And is this just for retired math teachers?
Not at all. That's the big myth. I mean, sure, if you can teach calculus, you're hired instantly. But you can teach professional skills. You can teach English as a second language to business professionals overseas.
Or even hobbies.
You can even teach hobbies. If you're a master woodworker or a knitter, there is a market for that.
That bridges us perfectly into what I think is the most fascinating part of this. The expert at the senior techie calls it the compound interest of work.
Yes.
Can you explain that? Because usually work is linear. I work an hour, I get paid for an hour.
Correct. Consulting, VA work, tutoring, that's all linear. You trade time for money. If you stop working, the money stops. Compound interest work is when you build something once and sell it 1,000 times.
So course creation.
The primary vehicle for this is course creation. You record a series of videos, make some worksheets, a curriculum.
A lot of upfront work.
A lot of heavy lifting up front. It might take you a month to build a really good course on basics of project management or how to bake sourdough, but once it's uploaded, it just sits there.
Earning money while you sleep.
That's the dream, and the stats back it up. The senior techie cites a report from Udemy, a massive online learning platform, showing 45% growth in senior enrollment for beginner-focused courses.
So seniors are both taking and making these courses.
There's a huge market on both sides.
Let's talk about the platforms, because I think listeners can get confused here. How do you actually sell a course?
Well, you can have your own website, but the senior techie suggests using existing marketplaces to start. There are two main models. First, you have Udemy. That's a marketplace. You post your course, maybe for $14.99.
Okay.
Udemy handles the marketing, the credit card processing. It's a volume game.
And the second model?
That's Skillshare. Skillshare is like the Netflix of learning. Students pay a subscription fee around $100 to $168 a year for access to everything on the site.
Ah, so it's a different payment structure.
Right. As a creator, you get paid royalties based on how many minutes people spend watching your content. One is retail, the other is streaming royalties.
But both are passive once the course is live.
Exactly. The heavy lifting is done.
This idea of passive income leads us to the creative track. Now, I have to admit, when I saw digital products in the notes, I thought of software engineers.
A common misconception.
But the senior techie says this is a huge opportunity for non-techies. What is a digital product in this context?
A digital product is simply a file, a PDF, a spreadsheet, a graphic, anything someone can download and use immediately.
So like a checklist or a planner.
Exactly. Think about a budget spreadsheet you've refined over 20 years. You can turn that into a clean, pretty PDF file or an Excel template and sell it on Etsy.
You can sell a spreadsheet on Etsy. I thought Etsy was for handmade jewelry and scarves.
It used to be. Now, digital downloads are a massive category.
Right.
And the margins are infinite because you never have to ship anything.
No post office trips.
You upload the file once, the customer buys it, downloads it automatically, you don't do a thing.
The numbers in the source material are pretty wild here.
They are. The senior techie shares a story of an Etsy seller who made $45 in her first month selling digital planners.
Okay, $45. Not exactly retiring to the beach on that.
No, but she kept at it, kept adding more files. 4 years later, she had generated $93,000.
Wow, from PDFs.
From PDFs. And there was another example, scaling to $7,000 in just 90 days. Now, that isn't a guarantee, but it proves the market exists. People pay for organization.
There's another term in this section I want to define. Print on demand.
Yes.
This sounds like publishing books, but it's not, is it?
Not necessarily. Print on demand, or POD, is a model where you sell physical goods, t-shirts, mugs, tote bags, without ever owning any inventory.
How is it possible?
You create a design, maybe a funny slogan about gardening or a nice graphic for a world's best grandma mug. You upload that digital file to a service like Redbubble or Printful.
Okay.
Then you create a virtual shop. When a customer buys a mug with your design on it, the service prints it, packs it, and ships it.
And you just get cut.
You get a royalty, you never touch a box, you don't have a garage full of unsold t-shirts. It eliminates all the financial risk of retail.
That is huge. Now, what about the writers? I know so many seniors who are incredible writers.
Writing is arguably the most accessible path of all. The senior techie puts it simply. If you can write clearly, businesses will pay you. The internet is hungry for content, blog posts, articles, clear emails.
And what about age bias? Because I know that's a real fear.
In freelance writing, it's almost non-existent. On platforms like Freelancer or Upwork, nobody cares if you're 25 or 75.
Really?
They care if the sentences are grammatically correct and delivered on time. In fact, many buyers prefer older writers because the tone is more professional.
So you just need a computer and a word processor?
Computer, internet, and usually a PayPal account. That's the toolkit. And if you want to be savvy, you can combine writing with affiliate marketing.
Define that for us briefly.
Affiliate marketing is where you recommend a product in, say, a blog post about fishing gear. You include a special link. If someone clicks that link and buys this fishing rod, you get a small commission.
Okay, I want to pivot to the elephant in the room regarding technology. We have to talk about AI, artificial intelligence. For a lot of seniors, this feels like the enemy, the thing that's going to make them obsolete. But the senior techie takes a very different stance.
They do. They position AI not as a threat, but as the ultimate enabler for seniors. It's a mindset shift. Tools like ChatGPT have leveled the playing field.
How? If I'm a writer, isn't ChatGPT trying to take my job?
It's trying to take the grunt work of your job. Let's say you want to offer marketing services, but you struggle with blank page syndrome. You can use AI to draft the outline.
So it's like having a very fast, slightly robotic junior assistant.
Exactly. A career coach quoted in the material said, "Technology has opened the door wide. You provide the judgment. You provide the human experience, the wisdom, the tone, the stuff the machine can't do. You let the AI handle the structure and the speed."
That makes it feel much less scary.
It's a tool in the belt, like a calculator.
Right. But you need to know where to apply your trade. Let's do a quick who goes where. If I'm a generalist, I can write a bit, organize a bit. Where do I start?
You go to Upwork. It's the general store of freelancing. Over 30% of retirees who freelance use it.
And what does it cost me?
They take a cut. It's a sliding fee, starts at 20%, but drops the more you earn with a specific client. So they reward long-term relationships.
Okay. What if I want to sell quick packaged gigs? I will design your logo for $50.
That is Fiverr. Fiverr is for packaged services. It's less about interviewing and more about putting a product on a shelf. Great for creative tasks.
And what if I am the creme de la creme? A former CFO, a high-level software engineer.
Then you look at TopTal. That's top talent. They're very selective. They screen you rigorously. But if you get in, the pay is high-end corporate rates. No bidding wars.
Okay, we've covered the high-tech, the creative, and the professional tracks. But I could hear some listeners thinking, I do not want to learn a new platform. I just want simple income.
And that is a totally valid desire.
Yeah.
And the senior techie covers the low-tech options too. Sometimes you just want a transaction. Online surveys and product testing. You're not going to get rich. Let's be clear.
Coffee money.
Enough for coffee money or a nice dinner out. But it's easy. No learning curve.
And then there's the local economy.
Right. Apps like Instacart for grocery shopping or DoorDash for food delivery. You're using an app, sure, but the work is driving and shopping. But the one that really stood out to me in the research was asset sharing.
This is the Airbnb concept.
Yes, but specifically for cars, the senior techie highlights Turo. Turo. It's a platform for renting out your vehicle when you aren't using it.
I've heard of it, but is it actually profitable?
The stat they share is eye-popping. The average annual income from renting just one car on Turo hits $10,868.
Over $10,000. That is significant breathing room.
That's a vacation, that's a new roof, and
Yeah.
it's an asset you already own that's just sitting in the driveway. If you're a two-car household and you're retired, do you really need both cars 24/7?
Probably not.
It turns a liability into an asset.
Or, on a much smaller scale, simply selling excess vegetables from your garden.
Exactly. Local Facebook groups or next door. The point is, the opportunities run the gamut.
We've talked a lot about the how, but I want to end on why not? What stops people? The senior techie talks about barriers to entry.
And they clarify that the technical barrier is actually quite low. We talked about it. A computer, internet, maybe a PayPal account. That takes 10 minutes to set up.
So what's the real barrier?
It's psychological, it's imposter syndrome, it's believing that your experience has value in a digital world. It's getting over that hurdle of thinking, who would pay me for this?
And there's a hidden benefit here too, isn't there? Beyond the bank account.
A huge benefit. The senior techie emphasizes that this isn't just about money. Work flexible, chosen work keeps seniors mentally sharp, it keeps them socially connected.
He gives you a reason to get up on a Tuesday and put on pants.
Exactly. Being productive because you want to be, not because you have to be. That sense of purpose is incredibly valuable for healthy aging. It battles isolation.
So if a listener's sitting there thinking, okay, maybe I should try this, what's the advice? How do they start without getting overwhelmed?
The advice is simple. Pick one thing. Just one. Don't try to master Upwork and Turo and Etsy all at once. That's just a recipe for burnout.
Play to your strengths.
Right. If you're hyper-organized, look at VA work. If you love to write, look at Freelancer. If you have a spare car, look at Turo. Just start somewhere.
And remember that pivoting is allowed.
Absolutely. That's the beauty of the gig economy. You can try something for a month. If you hate it, stop. Delete the app. You haven't lost anything but a little time. You're not burning bridges or quitting a career.
It's really empowering when you think about it. The world needs this experience.
It does. Tens of thousands of retirees are already doing this. The only question really is whether you're ready to let the world pay you for what you already know.
That is such a great thought to end on. You have the skills. The market is waiting.
It really is.
This podcast was brought to you by The Senior Techie. It's available on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. If you'd like to keep up with their newsletters, you can subscribe for free by going to theseniortechie.com.